dreams. Colors come alive, commands changing, no two are alike. Inspired to learn about the world outside. Here I go, on a journey wild and wide. Microscopes zoom in a whole new sight. Madagascar beckons, it's a magical flight. Exploring the wonders with eyes open wide. I'm on a quest with knowledge as my guide. Woodworking hands shaping dreams anew, creating beauty from the depths of truth. Building bridges, connecting old and new. Crafting tales that will touch hearts through.
I got my chameleon back when he was small. Watched him grow up, colors covered the wall. I played pretend, act like I don't see, so we won't get scared, just let it be. But when a tasty bug comes around, he'll come out bold. Can't hide on the ground with his colors shining like a neon sign. Chameleon rock, he's a sight to find. Chameleon rock, he's a sight to find. Chameleon rock, changing every day. Colors the light in a vibrant display. He's a rhythm chaser climbing up high. Chameleon rock, he's a star of the sky.
What the heck? All right. Well, that was interesting. Hello, everybody. Good. Okay. What my camera? What is going on with my camera? All right. All right. We got the camera set to go. Hello, everybody. Just hang tight while I get this going. Hello. Welcome to this November Saturday. How's everybody doing? And once again, I ask, how is your winter going? I have cold nights, but I have somewhat sunny days, and so bring my chameleons in at night, and I bring them out during the day to get a nice spray down and some sunlight. So, whew. And so it's a lot of work. This is what happens when I always recommend having a chameleon's two cages, an indoor cage and an outdoor cage. If you only have one cage, then you're moving back and forth. It gets a little insane there. So, whew. So let me know how things are going on your guys' side. And in the meantime, I'll give you an update. As many of you know, we are doing the daily YouTube tutorials, and we have completed our second week, and our third week is going to be going into how to actually, once you launch your first video, what do you do as far as metrics and getting it out there and building your community and such. So we got a lot going on for next week. And tomorrow we're going to have a live session with Richard Stewart of the Tarantula Collective. Now, for everybody just joined me, this is on a different channel. It's actually on a YouTube channel called Bill Strand. Used to be called Misty Forest Dragons, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to be doing so much stuff on this channel. I'm just going to call it Bill Strand, and that way, nobody's not going to know what to expect, because who knows what's going to actually be on that channel. And and case in point, you guys know that I usually do a live session with. In the past, I've done a live session where I just make fruit fly cups, where I'm going to be doing that again this Sunday evening on the Bill Strand YouTube channel. But I'm also going to be doing a chocolate chip cookie recipe, because if anybody saw the last video on the YouTube channel, I just used a chocolate chip cookie video as an example of how to start a YouTube channel. I was doing this for hopefully people in the reptile community can get more involved in content creation. And the thumbnail looked so good that I decided I got to make chocolate chip cookies. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock I'm going to be doing on the Bill Strand YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing chocolate chip cookies. So if anybody wants chocolate chip cookies, you can join me and see how I make them. My brevicorn, the little baby brevicorns, are doing awesome. I'm actually going to try to go get one and bring them on so you can see. So just be patient. Be patient. I'm going to go and get the little guy. Just James Cross, can you dance or something? Sing? That's right. Oh, we're coming. There we go. There we go. Let's see if I can do this in a way that the camera will focus on it. But this is, they have grown a whole lot. I'm trying to, there we go. There we go. Can you see? He doesn't want to, he just does not want to be on the camera. You know, usually, I don't know how they know where the camera is. Why is it he is going towards me? How does he know that there's cameras over there? I mean, usually he'll swivel around away from me, but now he's swiveling towards me because he knows that there's a camera there. It's just like, gosh, see, this is why it's so difficult. But you can see how big they're getting and how awesome they are. Anyway, okay, I'm going to put them away. Go ahead, my boy. As far as the lens looking like a giant eye, yeah, that would make sense when I put a camera in their cage. But when I bring them out, I should be the thing that they are more concerned about, not the little webcam. So I don't know how they know what I want from them, and they give me the exact opposite. Carson, I got 3 babies hatched, and they're all doing great. So let's see. All right, if we remember, Kiki had a big, huge enclosure that she made. Had to take all the substrate in my new enclosure I built and reseal the bottom with silicone. You know what? I've got to do that with one of mine. And it's one of the earlier ones before I was much better much better at siliconing. I am now much better at siliconing than I once was. So let's see. I think they can see the radiation from the phone. Actually, I think they can see what I want them to do, so they do the opposite. So Yeah, yeah, they are growing a whole lot. Yeah, I love it. So, oh, hey, we got Yvette here. So, we've been working a lot doing videos. And by the way, you're going to be able to see Misty Mountain Fence. Yvette's second video is going to premiere after our live show today. And of course, once again, I'll put the link in the show once we get to the end of this show. And that's good. And I'm really glad to have my coffee. This is brewed coffee, by the way, for anybody who is worried that I'm getting store-bought cold brew. So this is good stuff. So I will say around here, my chameleons are pretty stable. Not a whole lot of drama going on, which is exactly the way I like it. My hissing cockroaches are actually breeding, doing kind of good. So that's kind of fun. And so we got a question here. Alex is asking, I was wondering if you recommend using hotspots for raising hatchling panthers. Seen setups where breeders seem to use only UVB for babies. Thank you. Okay, well, baby panthers need heat to warm up, get their body to the temperature that they need to survive. And whether you need a heat lamp or not depends upon how warm the room is. A lot of panther breeders don't use hot spots in their chameleon room because they've got so many lights in that room to begin with that the ambient heat created by those lights would mean that if you put a hot spot on the baby, it would overwhelm them. And so we're not, you look at their setup, if you've got a warm room, you don't need a basking spot. If you have just one baby and it's in a room and you don't have all those lights heating up the ambient, then you may need a basking spot. I would say a weak basking spot because you don't want to overwhelm the poor little baby. So that is that's the situation. Every chameleon needs heat. Different chameleons need different amount of heat, but if they have a cold night, they need to be able to warm up to the point where they can function. So whether that means, sometimes that doesn't mean you bring a light in. You bring a light in only if the ambient conditions are too low for them. And so, Alex, take a look at your situation, your particular situation, and you can decide, do I need to add more heat to this situation? See, when we talk about chameleon husbandry, if you are one of those who wants to be out there giving advice on social media, it's critical that you understand why things are done. For example, saying that Parsons chameleons don't need a heat lamp, panther chameleons do, and quadricornis chameleons don't. That's making a lot of assumptions that everything is at room temperature. Not everybody has the same room temperature. And so understand what the equipment does, why we are trying to use the equipment, and then figure out if the person's situation demands that we use that equipment. So, sorry, my voice is giving out on me here, so I'm really enjoying the coffee here. My dog was fine with me pointing the phone at him, but as soon as I opened the camera app, he'd get upset. I don't know how they know. I do not know how they know. If anyone in Phoenix needs roaches, hit me up. Oh, okay. Surf Panther, Ryan. It's got roaches. All right. Okay. Hello, Nate. Good to see you here. Yeah. Justin says, Alex, my plant light puts out a small amount of heat. Along with the UVB, it's about 75, 78 in his enclosure. So there's an example of you got to be really careful. And this is the case. A lot of our lights put off heat. And when we're talking about a baby cage, say you're keeping your baby in a small cage, you're going to easily overheat the area. This is one reason why it's a lot easier to put a baby in a larger cage. And I know we're brought up, people say put a baby in a small cage or he won't be able to find food. That is a myth, 100% myth. That baby, a 2x2 by 4 foot tall cage is a baby is going to know everything that's going on in that amount of space. Their eyesight is excellent. And if there's food in that cage, your baby will find it. So smaller cages are for our convenience. They're not because the baby needs a small area. They will do great in a larger, they will do great in their, you can hatch a baby chameleon and put them in their adult size cage and they will do excellently. I've done it. It's wonderful. If you've properly set up all of the branches and leaves and such, you're not going to see your baby often because they're going to have a lot of places to hide. And that's what babies do. Little thing like that. Everything in the world wants to eat them, from big insects to everything else. So they like hiding. I know we like to see our chameleons, but they want to hide. And so if we want to give them proper best husbandry, then we need to give them places to hide. You do that with a huge cage, and yeah, you're going to go a couple of days without seeing your baby, but just trust they're going to do great, even though you're not seeing them. In fact, they like it that you can't see them. Can respiratory infection can cure by itself? No, probably not. So a respiratory infection is a bacterial infection in the lungs. Your chameleon is always breathing in that bacteria. When your chameleon gets a respiratory infection, it's not because there's some new bacteria that's been introduced. It means that the chameleon's immune system has degraded enough that it can't fight off the bacteria that is always there. Chameleon's always breathing in bacteria. Bacteria tries to take hold in the lungs because that's what it does, and the immune system kills it. And that's what happens every single breath your chameleon takes. But when your chameleon is stressed, either physical stress, emotional stress, whatever, and the immune system is compromised, it can't fight off that bacteria anymore. And the bacteria starts winning and starts growing. And this is what causes a respiratory infection. And this is why they are so dangerous. It's because the bacteria took hold because the immune system was weakened. And now the immune system is like on double duty. So you've got a weakened immune system having twice the job. And that's why it's a downward spiral. Because the more the bacteria grows, the more the weakened immune system has to handle and the more stressed the chameleon is. And so the immune system gets weaker and it just piles on top of each other until the chameleon dies. That's why you need to give antibiotics, because that kills the bacteria and allows the immune system to try to catch up. Now, obviously, you have to remove whatever was going on before that weakened the immune system in the first place, or else you're just going to go through this again and again. So that's the situation with our respiratory infections. They are dangerous. Yeah. My Parsons and recently acquired quads are all going over to the heat lamp in the morning. Not necessarily basking, but definitely getting up in the warm-up area. Case in point, Parsons and Quadricornis are cool weather species. And so traditionally, a lot of times you hear people saying they don't need basking lamps. Well, once again, if they don't get the warmth they need from the ambient conditions, then they need artificial warmth. And James is sharing that's exactly what happens. Buying a house next spring, will be setting up a whole camera. Excellent. That is a proper use for a room. So jungle dawns really produce a good amount of heat. Yes, yes. Those LED lights, they produce heat, and actually the fluorescents produce heat as well. So if you have a cool weather species, you got to be careful about how much light you have going on. Let's see. Eddie's saying, I'm new to keeping chameleons. Don't have any yet. Would love the ability to build an enclosure outside where the chameleons can naturally get everything it needs. Eddie, that's a perfect plan. You should build a cage outside and build one inside and have like a summer home and a winter home for your chameleon. That gives you the best of both worlds. It's a great idea. Steve says, my Brevicorn are in 24 by 24 by 48 from day one. They're going to do great. They're going to love that. Let's see. Would dimmer stats not be useful if unsure of heat emitted? Always used with various setups. Terry, I'm not much for thermostats and such. We chameleon keepers, we like to have ventilation going back and forth, and we work with gradients more than thermostats, but that doesn't mean you can't use a thermostat. I mean, why not? You can. It's just we rarely do. We rarely do. Hello, Colton. Welcome. And he says, I live in Florida. Is it possible to keep chameleons outside most of the time so they have as much of wildlife life as possible? I love your outside setup in one of your videos. Okay, so that depends on where in Florida you are. And I'm not going to be able to give you, I don't know Florida that well, as far as areas, but I do know that there's a lot of different areas in Florida. So it will depend on where you are. And it is possible to keep them outside. Just build a huge cage because that sun is pretty powerful outside. And so they need a heavily planted large enclosure. My outdoor enclosures, I love them to be 4 foot by 4 foot footprint and 6 to 7 feet tall. That is an ideal outdoor cage. Be careful about doing a 4 by 4 by or 2 by 2 by 4. That's not enough space to really effectively ward off the sun in all cases. Now, it actually does pretty well, but I would go bigger than that. Outdoors is great, and it gives you all the natural stuff that chameleons love, but the sun is harsh and is a killer of chameleons if they can't get out of it. Reptiles and oddities, my backgrounds come with these enclosures. These are enclosures coming from Maximum Reptile, and one of the options is to have it come with backgrounds. So Maximum Reptiles. There's actually a Chameleon Academy line. I'm working with Maximum Reptiles to do this line of arboreal cages, and that comes with and there's an option that allows you to put in these backdrops, and I really love that option. So, all right, everybody, tell Robert's channel how we're doing. And your lights are flickering, or it's just my phone. I don't think my lights are flickering. I don't see them flickering. Let's see, Robert's channel, Chameleon people, how are we doing this morning? We're doing great, Robert. I've got my great cup of coffee. Yeah. And by the way, yeah, Eddie, if you're going to build your outdoor enclosures, share with us. We love outdoor enclosures. We like to see how people are doing outdoor enclosures. And by the way, now winter is a real good time to start building for springtime. And if you wanted to get ready, just start buying designing your cage now. Start buying the material. You can start building pieces in your garage. I build my cages in pieces and I connect them with bolts. And that means that I can take them down. Of course, if you're in the same your house that you've owned for a decade and you're going to be there until you die, you don't necessarily have to do that. But like I was spending a time, I was up in Northern California for job purposes. And I had to move every single year that I was there. I was there for about 5 years. And I think only in the last house was I able to stay more than 1 year. And then I had to go. So I did a lot of moving when I was up there, and everything I owned was on rack systems. All the chameleons were on cages on racks, and the outdoor enclosures were all connected with bolts. And so when I had to move, I just took down all the vines and I took apart the cage, spun off the bolt, and then loaded it up into the truck and just built it back up at the new house. And I kept all of my cages on these baker's racks with casters. And so drive up the truck, to roll on all of my cages onto the truck. And that's what I did every single year. I got really good at it. It's been a lot of fun. Name is Jacob, and I'm an aspiring chameleon breeder. Wondering how you go about selling extra babies. Jacob, that is the biggest challenge in breeding chameleons. It's actually, if you go with Panther or Jacks or veiled, it's easy to mate them. It's easy to get eggs. It's easy to incubate. It's easy to hatch them. What's hard is raising them up properly, individually as properly, and then selling them. And so how do you go about selling the extra babies? Well, you have a plan and you start that plan before you have the babies. I always recommend start your social media account before when your eggs are hatched or eggs are laid. And so you have 7 to 9 months to prepare and let people know who you are and why your husbandry is so good, because you're going to have to somehow differentiate yourself from everybody else. You know, that breeder you got your Panther chameleons from, and you got the best genetics, of course. So why would someone buy from you instead of that breeder that you got yours from? You're going to have to provide that answer. And it's not a good idea to say, I'm going to be cheaper. Don't do that, because you being cheaper says, I didn't put in as much effort into these. That's the wrong thing to do. We got all these beginning breeders doing a race to the bottom as far as price, and that just, we just get it from the reputable breeder. So you got to have a something that makes you stand out, differentiates, and have your social media campaign so people can get to know you and have excellent service. That's the way to do it. If you have to sell babies quickly, you can always sell them to a pet store or try that. But definitely have a plan before you go into it. Like, chameleons weren't addictive enough. I thought I was the only one building enclosures that I don't even have. Oh yeah, I used to build a bunch of building enclosures is fun. I mean, I used to have all these enclosures that I had built up and I was raising plants in, but didn't have chameleons in. It's a lot of fun. See, Bill, I found a crazy chameleon study I had never seen. Pretty crazy data they have. It's a Madagascar. All right, Ryan, I don't know if I've seen it. What is it about? Type in what you got. What's this about? So all right. Oh, parasite study. Wow. Well, I've seen a lot of parasite studies, but you know what? Is this the one on coccidia? You know what? Send me a link. Bill at chameleonacademy.com. Send me a link and I'll take a look at it and see if it's one that I've seen before. Kind of nice. They've done some studies on coccidia where they start breaking up the different genus, which, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi.
All right.
I'm going to go watch Star Wars now.
What?
Yeah. We're not doing D&D, so it's Star Wars Day.
She's gonna watch Star Wars without me?
Lol.
What the heck? All right, go. I love you. What the heck? I tell you, watching Star Wars without me. Tell you.
It's the Phantom Menace if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, now it makes me feel better. Phantom Menace, whatever. Hi, Bill, you're awesome. Okay, so I like this already. I recently saved a juvenile veiled from Facebook. He's in a bioactive enclosure now. He's been climbing the background. All parameters seem correct. He's eating. What's up with him? So all I can do is talk from a high level, and so you'll have to decide how much of this actually it applies to what you're doing. Usually when they are climbing the background, it's because they don't feel safe. Now, why don't they feel safe? Either they see something on the outside they don't like, the conditions inside they don't like. It's too hot, too cold, too muggy, too whatever. They don't feel secure inside. There's not enough hiding spots. These are all things that it could be. Who knows? You're going to have to be the one to take a look and say, what is it? But generally speaking, if a chameleon is climbing the sides of their enclosure, it's because they want out. They're not comfortable with where they are. A chameleon that is comfortable where they are will stay nicely hidden in the branches or up on the perching branch. So you got to figure out what's the deal. Sometimes it's not the cage at all. I had a what was it? It was a 4 foot by 4 foot by 7 foot tall outdoor, heavily planted cage, and my male Jackson's chameleon noticed a female Jackson's chameleon across the yard. There was no cage big enough for that guy until he got to hang out with the female. So this is a case where we have to, number one, have to honestly assess our cage setup. Is it something that we can improve? And number two, realize our cage setup may be perfect, and it's something on the outside of the cage that is making them either want to be somewhere else or feel uncomfortable. So whatever is happening, there is something about his living condition that he's not happy with. So now it's time to do the detective work and figure out what's going on. Oh, everybody. I am very happy to try out the new colors for the Neymar cricket feeders from Neymar. This is Marsha Ibsen. You can get these off of Etsy. Neymar, Naymar. And these are two new colors that I've been able to evaluate. And I like to see what's going on in the world and keep on top of things. But I am loving these new colors, and so just wanted to show this to everybody. So this is very creative, and as in the people who follow the DIY Chameleon guys, this is not 3D printed. This is actually a resin mold. So that was designed by Marsha herself. And so this is incredibly cool. Let's see, we've got the hook on the back. And then, and this is new, which I love. It comes with a little hook that you can hook to branches. And one thing I love about this is, it has worked to put things against the screen. I don't like putting things against the screen, but it works. It works. So I can't say it doesn't work. It does work, but this goes against a branch. And so it's going to work in screen cages, hybrid cages, doesn't matter. So everybody, there's all sorts of different ways of attaching these. But anyway, I am excited about these new colors. So we've got a light brown and a darker brown. and it's this really cool resin stuff. So anyway, Marsha, I am so happy with these new feeders. Thank you very much for creating cool stuff. So, not gonna lie, Bill, you have the coolest daughter in the planet. Oh my goodness. Can't show her that. Can't show her that. Becky, what are they? Sorry. Oh, these are. Let me see if I've got. Here. Yeah. Oh, is that mirrored? Well, that sucks. All right. If you go to Etsy, give me a second here. Neymar, no, come on. There we go. Here, I'll show you. If you go to Etsy and you go to Neymar, Naymar, and give me a second here. So I don't know if they can go to the UK. Marsha, are you there? Are you able to tell us if these can be shipped to the UK? Let's see. It says I don't know what it says about going to the UK. I'll have to try it. They're very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Hey, yes, there's Renee. that's the start of Neymar's. Nay is Renee and Mar is for Marsha. Aw, so very cool. Okay, I'm catching up in the chat here. So, oh, sorry, Neymar's with an S. There we go. I love my Neymar's feeder run. So wonderful. I wish I had more Chameleon so I could order more. Well, that, Eliza Ann, that is a wonderful goal in life. Hey, just bought mine. Stephanie, you are the 400th feeder sold. Wow. That is awesome. Oh. And all right, well, I want to let's see, we're coming into the middle. I just want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing after this show. So in about 13 minutes, we're going to start slowing things down. And what I want to do, there we go. What we're going to do is we're all going to go over to YouTube to the Misty Mountain Fans YouTube channel, because Yvette, my wife, who is right now driving, is she is the breeder behind Misty Mountain Fans, that they make Eurypletus fantasticus, and she is starting her YouTube channel with our series on starting a reptile YouTube channel. And so we're all going to go over to her channel for her second episode and support her there. It's going to be a premiere, so we can all be in the chat. And it's all about bringing Eurypletus fantasticus home, and what you do when you how do you be ready for that. So, hey, Tutorial Time is here. Fun, excited to watch. Yes. Yeah, she is. She is getting used to doing a YouTube channel. And it's you can see this is her second video. She does a lot of shorts, but this is her second video, and you can see her getting better. And it is really cool to watch that kind of progression. And I gotta tell you, if anybody here wanted to do a YouTube channel, wanted to do a live channel or something like that, it's one of those things where you just got to start and keep going. And when you start, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty, but that's the only way to get going. It's still like a Fant. I ended up just getting too many darn chameleons this year. Well, that's acceptable. But you know what? It is the Fants are so cool. Everybody needs a Fant. That's what I say. Well, okay. They need to be kept cool. If you can keep a room cool in the 70s, the lower mid to lower 70s, then you need a Fant. So they are wonderful. So and the second thing I want to make sure we talk about is tomorrow I have a live session on the Bill Strand YouTube channel that is with Richard Stewart of the Tarantula Collective. And you guys, Richard Stewart is this incredible YouTuber. If you go to his channel, I don't know if you're into tarantulas or not, it doesn't matter, because his photography style, his documentary style is incredible. And so you just look at his videography and it's like, those are the goals. So he's going to come to the Bill Strand channel and he's going to be talking about what it's like doing a YouTube. And it's a completely live interactive Q&A session, just like this. And so you can bring your questions and talk to him about what's going on, what he did, how he started, and such. So this is just an incredible opportunity to talk to people who have really done it. And that's the whole point of the series. So let's see. Fantasticus were a zoo-only animal in my youth. So cool. We now have them in the hobby. Oh my goodness. That is, yes, it is so cool that we have them and that we have captive hatched available. I just love it. It's so cool. Man, lots of awesomes. Yeah, you know what? I'm having a blast here. And that's I'm having so much fun doing all this different stuff. So I want one so bad. Oh, they are so cool. So much fun. And the thing is, now, you got to be careful about holding them because they can lose a tail and they don't grow their tail back, but they'll just sit there on your finger, just looking at you, and they'll freeze. That's what they do as their defense, is they're so camouflaged. And so they don't necessarily, their first instinct is not to run away. It's to freeze and look like a dead leaf. And once they know that that's not working, yeah, then they try to get away. But so it's really interesting that, like, when you put a Fant and it gets on a branch, once it thinks it may get away from you, it just freezes. And it just like flops over the branch as if it's a dead leaf. It's so cool. Grace is saying, what are we talking about? Well, Grace, we're talking about a lot of different things. This is a Chameleon channel, but we were talking about doing your own YouTube, because on my other channel, I'm talking about how to create start off doing a reptile YouTube channel. So encouraging people to join in and be content creators. And a person who is going along with that is my wife, Yvette Strand, who raises Euryplatus fantasticus. And so she's making a video on Euryplatus fantasticus. And so now we're talking about Euryplatus fantasticus, the satanic leaf-tailed gecko. And that's kind of like the way these live sessions go. It's we go all sorts of places. But if you want to ask questions about chameleons, you go right ahead. So just notice the branch demons look a little like Night Fury on How to Train Your Dragon. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Oh, so much fun. So Maybe we ought to, you know what? Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can. I'm going to pull up a video file. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of these little guys just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. All right, where were. This will be fun. All right, all right. I'm bringing it up, bringing it up. Let's see what this. I'm just pulling it up to see. Here we go. There we go. Just sitting there looking at the camera. And a lot of times the camera doesn't know what to focus in on, but that's them. They just kind of sit there and they just look at you fierce like. Oh. How long is their lifespan? They can easily live 10 years. Yeah, that's especially if you take care of them correctly. They are the one thing that needs to be adjusted. Europlatists, they are not overly aggressive towards each other, and so we human beings tend to keep them together. If you really want the ideal care for your Europlatists, keep them separately, just like chameleons, but keep them separately, and you'll get rid of that stress. It is low stress, but it is stress. So keep them individually. Even if you've got a breeding pair, keep them individually. Bring them together just for breeding, and you'll get nice long lifespan. Should I put a phantom on my Christmas? Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Everybody needs a phant. They are so incredibly cool. Let's see, maybe one day we could have siblings. Have to get it approved of the gatekeeper first, though. Eliza Ann, you're just collecting dead leaves for your bioactive terrarium, and some of these dead leaves happen to hang out in the branches. That's the way of it. So, so Geraldine's mother had a nightmare that we were in Madagascar being chased by giant chameleons. Yeah, well, a number of us are going to be going to Madagascar in January, so that may happen. Now, the most giant chameleons are the parsons that are going to be sitting in the trees doing nothing, and the Ustaletii. But the Ustaletii tend to wander. And I remember we were driving across the flatlands. Totally, the forest is all gone, and so it's just like farmland, flat farmland all around. And all of a sudden, there's this huge Ustaletii chameleon walking across the road. I mean, it's like the road was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It was just, where in the world is this guy living? But that's the way they do it. Yes, Yvette does have babies available. You go to mistymountainfants.com and you can see what's available. And Yvette does keep them separately from birth. Sometimes she does photo shoots with them together, but they're all living in their own individual. That is the one thing she does that differentiates her from, I think, all the other breeders, is she keeps them individually from day one, which is why she spends a lot of time every day working on them. Let's see. Grace is asking, what is your opinion on glass or PVC cages for chameleons? Grace, they work great if they're used properly. The screen cages are great if the ambient environment matches what you need for your chameleon. But if the ambient environment is too dry or too cold, then you're going to need to either use a hybrid cage or a glass cage. This whole thing about chameleons needing screen cages and only screen cages is a myth that started decades ago, and somehow we can't get rid of it. I mean, I was part of the generation that grew up with that, and I know where that myth came from. And we've been saying, the experienced chameleon keepers have been saying for decades, no, that's going in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, it's like we can't get rid of it. So chameleons, whether you do a screen cage, hybrid cage, or glass cage, it all depends upon your ambient conditions. If the more you need to change the ambient conditions to match what your chameleon needs, the more solid sides you need. If you live in a cold area, you need to warm it up. You live in a dry area, you need it humid, get that glass cage. I mean, as long as the glass cage has the ventilation, you look at the, like you look behind here, you see there's vents here. That creates the chimney effect, which allows air exchange in your enclosure. And it's specific how it needs to be. There needs to be vents in front and a vent and the screen top, and everything else needs to be enclosed. Then you get air exchange, because chameleons need air exchange. They don't need 100% ventilation. So what type of cage you use for your chameleon or any reptile depends upon what conditions you are putting that cage in and how much you need to change what's going on around. So like there's some chameleons that are so perfect for the area that I'm in that I use screen cage, but there's other chameleons that need much more humidity. And so that's a hybrid cage, and I will go to a glass cage. The glass cages are wonderful because you can control so much of what goes on inside. This whole thing about chameleons dying in glass cages, respiratory infections, is complete myth. And it's passed down from generation to generation. I don't know how we're going to get it out of our systems. But such is our life. So, Mikey Ben says, I'm no expert, but if you have Jackson's chameleons, fans do well in the same room. That is absolutely correct. Now, Jackson's chameleons can take it hotter than a Fantasticus can. Fantasticus, Jackson's chameleon, you start getting into 85 and 90. That's when you're really getting into problems. Fantasticus start really not liking it when you hit 80. And of course, there's differences with humidity. The more humid it is, the more they can take higher temperatures. But we're not going to be talking about those kind of specific things. So you would know something was up when he saw our bank account. Liza Ann, you are now a collector of premium dead leaves. That's all he needs to know. That's all he needs to know, that you're just a diva when it comes to dead leaves. All right. All right, I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Guys, hang tight. All right, everybody's anybody in the room that's ever kept a Senegal chameleon? You know what? That's one of the few chameleons I have not kept. There is a certain area of Africa, Senegal chameleon, common chameleon, and Dilepus. Those are the chameleon area I have not kept. Is there anything you can cohabitate a chameleon with? There are things. You got to be very careful because chameleons eat things that are much bigger than you think that they could get down their mouth. So they will eat just about anything. You got to be really careful about that. But you get a real small chameleon, and as long as like some of the Euryplatus can work because they're at night, running around at night. The chameleon's running around during the day, as long as they're the same basic size. But once again, you got to be really careful because chameleons will take down things that you didn't think they could fit in their mouth. Whew, it's very surprising. So, it's about that time. All right, Justin, you are absolutely correct. Everybody. All right, I am going to put a link into the, let me get this. I'm going to put a link into the YouTube. This show is going on both YouTube and Instagram. And so Instagram people, Instagram doesn't allow me to put links in the comments because they're just horrible people. But the people on YouTube will get this link. And so what this is to the premiere of the episode that Yvette has. We've been talking about this episode all week on the create your own YouTube channel series. So we are all going to go over and we're going to see what she's been talking about and what she's doing. And so if you're on Instagram, you can go to YouTube and search for Misty Mountain Fans, Phants, and you can join us all in the chat there. Even though it'll start in about 7 minutes, but the chat will be open. And so I'm going to go over there right now, and we're going to start this chat. So everybody, thank you so much for joining here. And please come on over to Misty Mountain Fans. It's like a 4-minute video, so it's just going to be really quick. But it's really cool to see somebody who is just starting off in YouTube, and we're watching how her videos get better over time. It's just a very cool thing. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining here. I will be live on Tuesday. That's the next time. I'll be live tomorrow night. If you want to come to the Bill Strand channel on YouTube tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to be making fruit flies, and I'm going to be making chocolate chip cookies, because that's what I'm going to do. So it's only kind of a reptile thing. But right now, we'll see you on the Misty Mountain Fans YouTube channel. So thank you very much. See you real soon. Let's get on over there.